my name's Melanie, and I am actually on the business development team here at Pompeii Surgical. I'm one of the executives. I also sit on the board of directors for Pompeii, and I happen to be almost 8 years out, former patient of Dr. Quinones's. I know a lot of you probably know me from the Facebook group, but mostly I work behind the scenes, and you know, I'm thankful to be able to actually get to meet you and introduce what I do a little bit.
So what are a couple things that you think that the patients should know about Pompeii that you're more privy to that you think they don't know enough of?
I think it's things that really went into the core building of Pompeii and what made it so unique as a company, and a big reason why, you know, I got involved in what makes us so special, especially if you know these behind the scenes things, because there were things that kind of generated from my experience as a patient. And a lot of people misunderstand or think that I worked for the company back when I had surgery. I didn't. I was a regular person looking for surgery and just that opportunity of having, you know, a second chance at life again. I didn't come into the formula until much longer after I had surgery, and it was because of my experience and what I saw down here is the reason I got involved. I already had a career. I was already doing something in life, but I got involved in this in particular because I loved it so much and it meant so much to me to have that opportunity for myself. You can't help but fall in love with it, you know? I mean, and then to see how you can play a small role in helping build that out for other people, and then because you understand it at a certain level, then you can contribute in a different way. You know, a surgeon can come in and do surgery. A finance guy can come in and make the numbers work, but when you've physically been there and you've been in those patients' shoes, you're gonna advocate for a very different part of that formula. And so it's so cool seeing everybody work together and build these things out over the years. So things that I feel are really crucial or people would want to know, but it may not be something that they think of when they're considering where to go for their surgeries or things like that. It's just projects we built over time. So there were a few things back when I had surgery that patients today wouldn't understand because they are readily available. And what I love about Pompeii is the reason those things are available today is because they took the time to build them. They didn't exist back when I had surgery at all. Simple things like, and it's actually not simple, but things like the complication insurance. A patient back when I had surgery had a lot more fear factor coming down. That is something I feel like every company out there should offer their patients. And I don't know if anybody else does, I really don't. So it's a really great question to ask when you're researching your surgeries. So for us, I was explaining to the team, you know, when we come down, the way that through my research, I had found that a lot of places work is you'll have, you know, someone who owns the hospital and somebody who runs the administrative staff or, you know, the nursing staff or things like that. And then you've got, you know, a third party, you know, doctor who comes in and basically rents that OR. And you wouldn't think that plays a role in your healthcare, but when you actually break it down and things that can happen, it does.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's something that, you know, you don't have to worry about with Pompeii. You know, we build that into our pricing packages, and we built it with the intentions and safety of our patients in mind. So, for example, let's say you come down here as a patient and you go into the OR, and nobody wants to think about the worst case scenarios that can happen, but what happens if you have a bleeder or they run your barium swallow and you might show a sign of a leak? Well, in different operational settings, if you have a doctor who's coming in as more like an independent contractor who's renting an OR, then they have to pay each time to use that.
Absolutely.
It's not per patient, you can take them back in as many times. And so we built a formula here where, let's say something, you know, doesn't work out the way we all want it to. Let's say we have someone and we even question that if they have a leak, you know, we're not sure on the barium swallow. Then we're gonna take them back into the OR, we're gonna go and double check, and we're gonna make sure that patient's safe, and we're not gonna wake them up with a bill. And back when I had surgery, that's something that could very realistically happen to you. And I had seen that on the forums where people came down, they had to go in for a surgical reintervention. And when they did, the companies they went to woke them up and handed them X amount a bill.
Oops, sorry.
Right. And I mean, like to me personally as a patient, that would be offensive. But then when you actually look at the patients that really need the help down here, most of them are spending their last dimes to come and get this opportunity.
Saving for years, or
they don't have extra money for something like that. And so that's something that I think, you know, regardless of where you go, that's a question you should definitely be asking, because the role it plays in your overall healthcare. Other things that we put in there was the travel insurance. That's another thing. You know, it was like when you messaged me the other day asking about the pickup times. You know, that border can get crazy. We do our best.
Now this
we do our best to estimate those time frames, and you know, the policies there are for the comfort of the patient. But what happens if the transportation man gets a flat tire and it causes you to miss your flight? We don't feel like it should be a patient's responsibility to have to then dig up, you know, extra money that they didn't have to reschedule their flights. So Pompeii said, we're just not going to put that burden on a patient. They shouldn't have to worry about that. And if some unforeseen event happens that's, you know, in any way, you know, our responsibility, we didn't get you there on time, we are going to take care of it. And that's our obligation to you as a patient, that we're going to get you home safe, because that's what, you know, we were promising in the first place. Financing, that was another big one back when I went through surgery. Back when I went through it, if you didn't have the full price up front, you simply didn't get surgery. And, you know, for a long time, as we were working on implementing in-house financing, it took us years to develop. There were things that came into the industry a little bit later on after my surgery, or they may have been around but not as popular, that was financing of some sort. But it was very difficult for a long time to convince a company to underwrite a loan for a surgery that was performed out of the country. You know, lots of laws and stipulations and things like that. And when they finally did develop that in the market, what ended up happening is you had to have excellent credit. If you didn't have excellent credit, it was highly unlikely you were going to get a loan. If you had sub-excellent credit, you know, so it's still really good compared to a lot of, you know, a lot of people. They did, but they tacked on these insane fees with it. So
higher
interest rates, all of that. And so when we were developing, you know, our concept of in-house financing, what was really important to us was, okay, one, we believed in the concept behind why you would want to finance a patient to begin with. How many of us out there have been looked over for promotion? How many of us want to get out there and work and can't due to some type of disability we have that is directly correlated to our weight? We really believe that if you invest into someone and give them an opportunity to get their lives back, that they would then in turn become better chances at lending. But it takes a lot to prove that to traditional lenders. And so Pompeii, where I have to tip my hats off to them, is they took that risk. They didn't have to. They believed in what they did so much that they said, let's put our money where our mouth is, because we believe in our patients. And so for years, they structured it, collected the data, and lo and behold, we were able to prove by the numbers that when people increase their quality of life, they got better job opportunities. They did go back to work. They did, you know, become more responsible lenders and pay those loans back.
And so also become more capable.
Absolutely.
And actually doing more at a job.
Absolutely. And so it was really neat, because that in itself proves a business theory that didn't exist in lending before that. So it has this ripple effect across markets when they build things out. And there's
nothing like it.
No, there's not. It's a really unique thing. You know, and then it's something that over time they continue to work on those formulas and continue to build them out. It isn't just let's open a program and stop it there. You know, so the next one after that was our original beach houses. And that got born out of the concept of, you know, a lot of our people, they don't have the money to take vacations. They don't, you know, a lot of our patients have never been out of their home states. And so we thought maybe it'll add a little bit of relaxation and enjoyment to their experience down here, not to just come in and get surgery, but to hang out by a beach, even if it's just for a day, 2 days, whatever it is. And maybe through that, the anxiety of being in a foreign country to have surgery might be lessened. So we had that, and it ran for a couple years, and now we have the newest project, which is the retreat. You know, so we've added on the retreat, the nutritional classes, the spa, and all of that was built because we saw what we did in the beach house, which is people come down here, they interact with staff, they learn the language barrier isn't what they think, or the stigma of Mexico isn't what they expect, and that lessen their anxiety. And the less stress and anxiety you send a patient in the surgery
Better
with,
recovery.
better recovery, reduction in complications, all of that.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I've really respected over the years, especially being a patient, is how much forethought went into building this.
Absolutely.
I think it's so unique and unlike anything I've ever seen in healthcare. You know?
Yeah, and I feel, just to add to that, not only are the ideas that came to fruition that were built around patient care, it was done with such a level of care,
Yeah.
and heart and passion, and I can see that.
Yeah,
and it's something that you can't fathom or imagine unless you actually lived it. I can only, like I tell the patients all the time, when you see my lives, or when I'm advocating for Pompeii, I tell them all the time that they don't understand until they live it. And there's been patients who have come and gotten it done, and they message me, they're like, oh, I came because I saw you and because, you know, I thought it'd be a good idea, but I understand what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Because I got it done and I lived it, and I truly am like trying to convince people who are telling me they want to get it done to go there, because I feel it in my heart that it was an experience like no other. I mean, you know, not to say that hospitals in the US aren't above grade, but
Yeah.
there's a very robotic feeling
Yes.
when you step into most medical places. I've worked in them for so long. I
They're
understand
understaffed, under budget. I mean,
absolutely.
tons
They're
of red
just
tape,
people,
all of that.
People who
Yeah.
don't always love and have a passion for what they do.
Yeah.
But the difference is have a passion for people and
Yeah.
wanting to help people. There's a difference, you know?
This team loves what they do.
Absolutely.
In such a
And
way.
It shows in a way that is done unlike any other.
Yeah. To give you an example of that, this to me is still insane to process. I've literally been taken into meetings where they sit us down in new hospital build outs, and they've asked me, all right, from the patient's perspective, do you think these walls are too white? If you had to sit here for 2 days, would you be uncomfortable? What can we do to this room that's gonna make that patient feel even an ounce better?
Yeah.
And I've never in my life had a doctor ask me that.
Yeah.
I've never had a CEO ask me that.
Yeah.
I've never had anybody ask me those questions, because usually it's all about the money.
Yeah.
It's all about the budgets. It's all about these things.
How can we
Yeah.
play with our budget to make it
Yeah.
nice, but it's not always about what will our patient feel.
Yeah.
How will the humane side of it feel, and how will they benefit from this?
Yeah.
It's typically more how will we benefit from this at a lower overhead, and I totally understand that because I've built those structures before in the past, and that's what it's asked of, and I do my job. However, you can totally see that from the essential oil from the essential oil to the aromatherapy that doesn't have to be there but is.
Yeah.
Even from my personal experience, when I went to Pompeii, and I use this experience all the time when I'm talking to people, I brought my mother with me. Well, she forced herself with me. She's like, you're not going.
You gotta love
without
moms.
me. Yeah. She came with me. It was like 4:00 in the morning. She was sleeping. I didn't want to wake her. There was someone coming to change the garbage, and I was coughing a little bit, kind of dry heaving, and they came and stopped what they were doing, took their glove off, and pat me on the back for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Number one, I typically wouldn't feel comfortable with that, but because it was done with they had the worried look on their face, and they seemed to want to help so much and care that I was there coughing. And I looked at my mom like, I don't want to wake her up. I was like, it's okay, don't wake her up. They decided to come and do it themselves. Those little things stay with you for a very long time. At least it does with me, because I'm the type of person that I actually care about people. I wouldn't put these things on social media or take my time and put something so sensitive like my weight loss journey on social media if I didn't care about reaching out to people who might need it.
Yeah.
And so little things like that stick with me.
Yeah.
And it's the smallest things, but the smallest things are the biggest for me.
Yeah.
And there's no price tag you can put on that.
No, and I don't know, like, to me it just blows me away, because I've worked in companies before. I've done those roles in life, and the time and care, and it's not even just that, like COVID-19, perfect example. The links that everyone in this company is willing to go to really maintain that patient care aspect, because around the world, this is hitting, and no one knows how to deal with it. So people are laying off their staff, they're furloughing people, you know, tons of people lost their jobs. And I remember getting the call that day, and they said, you know, hey, Melanie, we don't want to have to let go of our staff. You know, the families that work for us depend on their jobs to get their families by.
Yeah.
But then if you fire a bunch of people and then you restart up, then your level of patient care is going to suffer. So they said, we've made the decision to suspend all executive wages in order to ensure we can sustain our families. And every single executive, every single person on, you know, Pompeii's payroll, equally across the board said, whatever it takes, we'll work as long as it takes to make sure our family's intact. Because if we don't take care of them from the bottom up, you know, our patient care, one, they're our family, but two, when we come back and do start, you know, performing surgeries and things like that again, we don't want the patient care to suffer.
Absolutely.
You know, we don't want to not have
enough.
Staff
is one of the biggest parts.
Everyone from your cleaning people to your nurses to your doctors, they all matter.
Yeah.
And so all of them are valuable, and we didn't want to have to make those decisions where, do we, you know, fire some cleaning staff and then our facilities aren't where they need to be, you know, all of that matters. So it's just little decisions like that, you know, you wouldn't think, you know, I know when I was researching, I didn't think about things like that. They matter. They matter because what happens when you reopen a medical facility and half your staff isn't there? You're going to be understaffed.
Absolutely.
Your cleaning's not going to be where it needs to be because you've stretched everyone too thin. It all plays a role, and I just have so much respect.
Like an ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean it's a
you
million.
knock one little part off,
and it can do so much to the whole thing. Yeah, and so I had so much respect for that, and then just that willingness of all hands on deck. We'll work as hard as it takes, as long as it takes. We want what's best for our patients. You can't ever beat that, you know?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And it shows. You know, Christopher, my boyfriend who had the surgery, that's why I'm here.
Congratulations.
Thank you. He's, you know, he didn't have an expectation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he always goes into something without an expectation, so that one, he's not disappointed, or two, he doesn't overthink it.
Yeah.
But he knew what my experience was. Obviously, he watched my videos. He knew me. You know, he knew what I went through.
Yeah.
However, you know, he sits and he's more reserved than quiet, as you can notice.
He's a sweetie though. He
really
is.
He sat back and he, you know, we were just having a conversation before you guys actually came in the room, and he goes and he's like, you know, this place is amazing. He's like, I had an idea, but I'm here. And when we left the spa, he was just like, I love all those ladies. Like, you know, he's like, he really felt connection. He felt not one person gave him a side eye or like, I'm tired of you being here. You know, a lot of places you go to, you can feel like one or two people, like one of the drivers. Not one person. And I felt this in my experience too, which was a year and 4 months ago. So a year and 4 months ago, fast forwarded, a different person from a different type of, you know, background and everything. You know, I work in healthcare. He works in law enforcement. New Jersey and New York, different states. These are completely different people, and we have the exact same feeling. Yeah. Every single person on staff made us feel comfortable, down to, you know, from the surgeons to the executives to the cleaning staff to the drivers.
It's important.
It's, you know, every person on staff made us feel welcomed, loved, like we were a part of something bigger. Yeah. And so that goes to show all that hard work has paid off, because it's so worth it. Yeah. And you know, this could be priced at double, and I would do it again. It could, and it's very reasonably priced. I have full coverage insurance. He has full coverage insurance. We can have it covered. But when I chose Pompeii, I chose based on, you know, data, information, following people. And I just kind of, for some reason, I was kind of gravitating towards Pompeii. And I said, you know what, I'm going to take a chance and do it. Yeah. Because my insurance was trying to make me jump hoops, wait X amount of time. And I was like, I'm ready now. Yeah. And I knew the choice I wanted to make. And this was always an option, just in case insurance, let's say, what if my insurance didn't cover? But even though they approved me, I said, no, I'm going to try Pompeii. And then he has his insurance too. But he trusted me, because I advocated so strongly within his ear for months. Yeah. And he tried it, and lo and behold, we were not disappointed.
I think that has been such a long-term goal of Pompeii, especially being in Mexico, especially battling the stigmas and things like that. You know, there is this sort of mentality, I think, amongst people, you get what you pay for, or something to that
Lo
effect.
barato sale caro.
Yeah,
Is what they say in Spanish.
and we worked so hard over the years to say, well, one, you know, my personal belief is I think the healthcare costs in America, you know, is ridiculous. You know, most of my family worked for Baxter's growing up.
Yeah.
I know what it costs to make an IV. Tell me why I'm paying $300 to go to an ER and get an IV.
Yeah.
Why is that $5,000?
Yeah.
Who can realistically afford it?
Yeah.
So I know the biggest goal over time is, you know, let's keep it within affordable ranges, because so many people need this opportunity in life. And it's unfortunate that we're not getting it, you know, in the places that we're born. But, you know, maybe we can prove that over time. Maybe we can prove to a different formula that you can build this, you can make it cost effective and add a lot of love and a lot of, you know, it just doesn't have to be the basics. It doesn't have to be, you know, a bed in a room with, you know, a nursing staff that is, you know, depleted and everything else. You can make it, with this cost, a really amazing experience and put a lot of love on it.
Absolutely.
You know? It's a lot of work, I'm not gonna lie on that.
Absolutely not. It takes a village.
Yeah, it takes a village, but that's the thing. You get the village involved, and you know, you come at it with a lot of heart and a lot of passion, and you can really do amazing things.
Absolutely.
And you can do it for some of the most amazing people I've ever met in my entire life. Our patients are awesome. I mean, you know, I think we're like, so how many we got in Facebook crowd? Like 23,000 people. Yeah. I mean, I wish I got to meet everybody to come down here, but you know, whether I've met you in person or virtually, you guys are rock stars, honestly.
You guys sure are.
Yeah. So people who are thinking about coming, I mean, this is a very personal decision. My personal belief as a patient, and I know I work for a company, I think what matters the most is that we all take care of our health and realize that we are worthy. So I don't care if you get surgery. I don't care if you go lose it in the gym. I want you to realize that you are an amazing person, and I want you, more importantly, to realize you're an amazing person right now. You don't have to wait to lose the weight to know that you are amazing, because I meet so many of you, and I always struggle, even though I know, and I did this exact same thing, with seeing on their face, they don't know how amazing they are. And that's something that gets, you know, it's part of the journey and everything. But I'm telling you, with someone with experience who's worked with thousands of you, I've yet to meet a single patient who wasn't an amazing person as they were now. You losing weight is such a separate issue. That's about your health. It's not about who you are. That's about your overall health. So please understand that. And no matter how you lose that weight, that's who you are. You're fantastic. And this is only a bonus to the fantastic person you're going to be. People who are scheduled, it's a journey. Trust the process. You know, I think there's this misconception. People think I was a perfect patient. Let me tell you, any doctor in this building will tell you I was not. So if I were going to give advice to someone who's about to go through it, trust the process, give yourself time, understand, you know, follow the diets. Those are really important to your safety, but also as you get further out from your journey, when you make a mistake, don't dwell on the fact that a mistake was made. Don't beat yourself up. We've done that far too long. Just get back on the wagon. Just know you can do this. You're gonna be amazing. You know, develop formulas for yourself over the time that you can follow, and then work in your life, and it's gonna make it so much harder. Please forget the scale. Measure. And measure in so many other ways, because every step you take towards health is a step that should be celebrated. You know, far too often the scale is going to lie to you. So measure, you know, and measure things that, you know, is more than a tape measure. How, you know, did you go up the stairs a little bit easier today? Do your knees hurt a little bit less today?
Not still victories.
Are you able to play with your kids? So many of you come down here for your kids. So how's that going? Those are your actual victories. That number on the scale does not determine who you are. It's everything you achieve that's making you a victor right now. And the people who've already had it done?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, depending on where you're at in the process, depending on where you're at.
It gets better.
If I were giving advice to you guys, again, trust the process. Don't count yourself out. Life is gonna throw us all curveballs. It happens, it's happened to me. And don't assume that, you know, again, if you make a mistake, that you're a failure or that you are failing or anything like that. In fact, I think that's one of the hardest things with social media, and it's a big reason I stay on there. Back when I went through surgery, it was so hard to find anybody who was more than about 2 years post-op, and I feel like that sends a very wrong message to the success of surgery. What I found is that after about 2 years, most of the people that are successful, they don't stay around on forums. They go off and they live their lives because they're happier, they're out living, they're enjoying their kids, they're doing other things. So don't feel like this is just, you know, a short-term fix. It's not. I am almost 8 years out. I'll be 8 years out in October. I'm still a success. I'm still here, and you can be an absolute success too. Keep at it every single day. Just work at it. You know, hold that accountability strong with yourself. Believe in yourself is the biggest thing. Believe that you can do this. Because we're here and we build this because we believe in you. All right, we believe in you guys so much, and we know you can do it. Believe in yourself. You guys are so much more awesome than you realize, and it's so neat to watch you guys on Facebook and watch so many of you recover that part of yourself. I mean, it's one of the best things about my job, and I thank you guys for that, because without you all, we wouldn't be here. And it's something I wish, you know, well, and I hope in the future a lot more of y'all come back and see us, because we love visitors. We love seeing how far you've come. Until then, you know, keep updating on the Facebook page. I know a lot of people don't see staff in the Facebook page and things like that, but they are all the time. We're sharing, you know, those people we met and their achievements and goals with everyone. If you think the doctors don't see it, they do. I personally take some of them and show them, because I want everyone here that works for this process to see exactly what impact they're having. It's amazing, and we are so thankful for all of you for giving us an opportunity to live our dreams through you, and vice versa. There's no better way to explain it. Y'all just rock.
Well, Melanie, thank you so much. I am a true believer that time is something you can't take back and buy back, and I appreciate your time, your passion, your efforts, and everything that you do to make every person at coming to Pompeii and myself, our experience, just a smooth one, and one that we don't have to worry if it's going to be good or not. We know for a fact that it's going to be amazing because you make sure of that. And I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out to educate
I hope it helps
everyone, the viewers. I really, really appreciate that. It's going to really help a lot of people to get a better insight as to how the experience is at Pompeii, and hopefully make a better choice for themselves.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you guys for listening, and
bye guys.